Buenos dias. Welcome to another Meditation Monday. I hope this recording finds you well and in a place where you can safely relax. I invite you to get nice and comfortable on a bed or chair and to, of course, make sure you're not doing anything that requires your full attention. Make sure you're not driving or operating any heavy machinery or flying a plane or helicopter or anything like that. Certainly don't be riding a motorbike while you're listening to this. With that said, I invite you to sit back and relax. Take a few deep breaths in and out and just check in with yourself now, knowing that this time is only for you to really relax and settle down now. Taking a break from all the chaos of the day and life, work, family, dramas, whatever's happening. Just allowing everything to settle down. We spend so much of our time distracted by everything going on outside of us. And many people really don't spend any time with themselves anymore. The thought of sitting quietly, silently in a room alone scares a lot of people. They really want to get away from themselves. Funny thing is, wherever we go, we have to take ourselves with us. So it's better to get along with that person that we have to go everywhere with. Inhaling and exhaling now. I wonder if you can imagine what it'd be like for a single drop of pure gravity to be dropped right on top of your head now. Allow that gravity to flow down over the crown of your head, down into your forehead or your temples, down, closing your eyes if they're not already closed, down your cheeks, loosening your jaw. A second drop of gravity dropped on your head now, just compounding the first, pushing that relaxation all the way down your neck into your shoulders, your chest and back. A third drop of gravity travelling all the way down the centre of your spine now, from your head to your coccyx. Another drop of gravity, pushing that relaxation all the way down your arms, into your hands. Another drop of gravity, allowing that relaxation to flow all the way down into your hips and your pelvis, your thighs, your calves, your feet and your toes. There's another drop of gravity. Just let you feel heavier and heavier. Just letting that bed or chair take all your weight now. Trusting your body to look after itself for a little while. You can let all those tiny muscles relax. Another drop of gravity, allowing the tendons and the sinew to relax. A steady drip, drip, drip of gravity now. Allowing your nervous system to relax. Allowing your blood vessels to relax. Allowing your very being to relax. Now, becoming aware of the tide of your breath now. Pulling in fresh energy, fresh nutrients, and exhaling any tension, anything that you no longer need. The tide of your breath coming in and going out, quite naturally all by itself. Imagining a vast epic coastline now. Perhaps beautiful beaches hidden away by steep cliffs. Beautiful secluded beach surrounded by cliffs. The vast ocean out in front of it. Inhaling and exhaling. Imagining as you inhale the tide rolling in to that beach, and as you exhale the tide rolling out, exposing miles and miles of beach. Inhaling that ocean flooding in all the way to the cliffs. And exhaling that tide pulling away almost all the way to the horizon, as far as the eye can see. Inhaling and exhaling, just observing that tide flooding in and pulling out over millennia, watching it sped up to the rhythm of your breath. Tide comes in, tide goes out. Tide comes in, bringing fresh energy, fresh nutrients. Tide goes out, taking away debris, cleaning the beach, exposing those mud flaps, letting the birds feed. Tide comes in, bringing everything it brings, bringing fish, bringing sea life, bringing depth, bringing nutrients. Tide goes out, bringing stillness, exposing what lies beneath the surface. The ebb and flow of the tide. We can see the rhythms of life. We don't know what the tide will bring. Sometimes the tide comes in with ferocious waves, brings storms and destructions, those powerful waves crashing into the cliffs, tearing chunks off them, tearing trees down, bringing logs in, bringing driftwood in, bringing even shipwrecks in, smashing against the coastline, tearing away at it before receding. Other times the tide comes in gently, peacefully, flatly and calmly, merely lapping at the beach and the foot of the cliffs. Other times the tide goes out, taking with it huge chunks of wood, exposing what lies beneath. So tide comes in and out, sometimes bringing heavy weather, bringing rain, thunder, lightning. Peace and destruction, ebb and flow. Sometimes it's a high tide. Sometimes it's barely perceivable. Sometimes the tide carries surprises in with it, brings sailors safely ashore. Other times the tide going out can cause trouble, add a little chaos into the mix. The tide will always come and go, sometimes calmly, sometimes aggressively, sometimes bringing what we least expect, other times providing a rhythm and a beat to our lives that we can enjoy. The tide, however, only causes problems to those who choose to resist it. If you were to follow the tide out and then stand and scream and shout, demanding that it never comes in, you'll be sure to get wet, and it won't be very comfortable. Likewise, if you take a flimsy inflatable out and paddle around paying no heed to what's happening around you, you'll be sucked out into the ocean, noticing that you have very little control of the direction or the speed. The best thing we can do is learn to accept the tide, observe it, understand its rhythms, even learn to play on it, learn to surf those waves, learn to sail upon the tide, learning the own rhythms of our life, what we can do at high tide and what we can do at low tide. It's pointless to wish to swim when the tide is low. And it's pointless to want to build sandcastles or look for cockles or crabs or explore the mussel beds when the tide is high. There's a time for both, but we have to tune in to the ebb and flow of our own life, our own rhythms, our own tides. Notice when the tide is turning. Notice if it's safer to stay out there or head into shore. Knowing that if we do get caught out by the tide, it's only a matter of time before it turns. Not to panic, just to accept it and ride it. Who knows what we may find, what treasures may be uncovered when our tide recedes and we can explore those vast, vast areas of our life that were covered by water. Likewise, when the tide floods in, coming all the way to the cliffs, who knows what it's bringing? Who knows what beauty? Who knows what wonders are carried in by that tide? What we may find when we fish. What we may find when we swim in those beautiful waters. When the storms come, the truth is all we can do is enjoy the show the best we can. Know that it will pass. Ride the waves. Inhaling and exhaling. Tide comes in. Tide goes out. As sure as clockwork, in accordance with the laws of nature, the pull of the moon, the gravitational forces. There's a rhythm to those spring tides, those high tides, those storms. However unpredictable life seems to be, there's always patterns, just like the tide. That said, even predictable tides can carry with them surprises. Yin and yang. The unknown comes with the known. And even in moments of our greatest surprise, our greatest uncertainties, there's always something we know and understand that we can cling to. Enjoy the tides of your life, the rhythms, the ebbs, the flows. fresh nutrients coming in, old energy flowing away. Imagining now a single drop of rain dropped into the ocean, coming into your beach as the tide rises. That one drop of rain becoming part of that whole vast ocean, crashing up against the cliffs, lapping at your beach, flowing, swirling, foaming before being drawn out into the deep ocean. How long do you think it will be until that same drop of water returns again? The ebb, the flow, the rhythm. Yes, there's a pattern, but the energy is always fresh. The water is always new, carving and sculpting our coastlines. It's pointless to resist. It's pointless to wish it was any different. We must work with what we have, doing all those things we can do when the tide is high. Swim and fish and enjoy the deep water, and doing all those things we can do when the tide is low. Comb the beach, look for shellfish, cockles, see what's been washed up on the last tide. There's a time for all things. The ebb and flow of the tide. Make sure you enjoy the ride. Don't wish for things to be different. Just work on making yourself more competent and capable to deal with the high tide or the low tide. Ebbing and flowing. Breathing in, breathing out. Pulling fresh energy into the body now. Allowing your tide to rise. That's right, letting that fresh energy flood into your body. Feeling better and better. You can bring that clarity with you. You can bring anything that's been useful from this meditation with you all the way up to the surface now. All the way up, coming up, feeling good, fresh energy rushing through your body, ready to get on with your day, ready to do whatever it is you want to do next. Bringing a bit of movement into your fingers and into your toes. Inhaling, having a stretch, feeling good. Have a wonderful day. I'll see you next week. Make sure you ride your tide. The best way you know how.